And let's shift focus to the other big developing story. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Washington today to participate in the two-day nuclear security summit, during which he will interact with a number of world leaders, including US President Barack Obama. Leaders of around 50 nations will use the summit to discuss ways and means of preventing nuclear trafficking and ensuring nuclear safety of our installations. As for PM Modi, this is his third visit to the United States. The summit will begin with a working dinner with other participating heads of states. On the second and last day of the summit, he will attend 3 plenary sessions at which India's written national progress report will be circulated, and the Prime Minister would underline some of the important measures India has taken to strengthen nuclear security. He will also meet scientists and executives of US companies during the visit. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacted with well-wishers earlier, especially members of the Indian community outside his hotel in Washington, D.C. The Indians based there extended a warm welcome for the Indian Prime Minister. Prime Minister started his bilaterals by meeting New Zealand Prime Minister John Key. That was a couple of hours earlier. The first bilateral of Prime Minister Modi on the sidelines of the 4th Nuclear Security Summit being hosted by US President Barack Obama in Washington. That's just one of the many bilaterals that the PM would be having, besides, of course, the multilateral summit, which is the Nuclear Security Summit. Leaders of 50 countries are expected to share their assessment of the threat from nuclear weapons and materials at the Nuclear Security Summit in Washington tomorrow. Russia and Pakistan are not attending the summit, with terror organizations like the Islamic State having perpetrated several attacks, the most recent one being in Belgium. There is widespread concern over terror networks laying their hands on nuclear material and technology or fissile material to generate low-grade dirty bombs. The 4th Nuclear Security Summit, being hosted by Obama, will focus on securing such material and facilities from terrorists, from theft, as well as from trafficking.
When over 50 leaders meet for the 4th Nuclear Security Summit in Washington, their prime concern would be to ensure the safety of nuclear material and facilities from falling in hands of terror organizations like the Islamic State. The agenda of the summit is to prepare action plans for safeguarding nuclear material and facilities and preventing nuclear terrorism. According to an estimate, the world has about 800 metric tons of radioactive uranium and plutonium that lie in hundreds of civilian nuclear reactors and military stations spread across 50 countries. It's absolutely essential to keep this nuclear material away from the reach of any rogue country or non-state actors. Else, consequences will be disastrous if terror groups looking for dirty bombs succeed in making them from pilfered nuclear materials.
India has been a part of this process since its inception in April 2010 and has been a regular participant. This is a reflection of the importance that we attach to the issue of threat of nuclear terrorism. As a responsible nuclear power, India wishes to contribute its might to efforts to strengthen nuclear security.
Ahead of hosting the Nuclear Security Summit, US President Barack Obama wrote in Washington Post, "Given the continued threat posed by organizations such as the terror group we call ISIL or ISIS, we'll also join allies and partners in reviewing our counter-terrorism efforts to prevent the world's most dangerous networks from obtaining the world's most dangerous weapons. Beyond preventing nuclear terrorism, we are taking concrete steps towards a world without nuclear weapons." President Barack Obama announced the launch of the initiative in his speech in Prague on April 5, 2009, saying, "Of all the threats to global security and peace, the most dangerous is the proliferation and potential use of nuclear weapons." He said the international community should come together to turn efforts such as the Proliferation Security Initiative and the Global Initiative to Combat Nuclear Terrorism into durable international institutions. Previously, nuclear security summits were held in the US in 2010, in South Korea in 2012, and in the Netherlands in 2014. Around 2,000 metric tons of nuclear weapons usable materials, that's highly enriched uranium and separated plutonium, are present in both civilian and military programs around the world. While the world powers have reached a nuclear deal with Iran that will prevent it from getting a nuclear bomb, North Korea is continuing to resort to provocations, including its recent nuclear tests and missile launches. There are concerns with regard to Pakistan's record in nuclear proliferation as well. During the summit, there will be 3 plenary sessions on 1st of April. At the first plenary session, there would be a focus on national actions to enhance nuclear security. This would be followed by a working lunch where the focus of discussions would be on international institutional actions to strengthen nuclear security. The third and the final plenary discussion at the summit would be a policy discussion on nuclear terrorism based on a hypothetical scenario. The summit would then conclude with the adoption of a brief communique and 5 action plans. Russia is not attending the summit. It's one of the 5 officially recognized nuclear weapon states and has among the biggest nuclear stockpile in the world. Another nuclear state, Pakistan, will not be represented by Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, who cancelled his trip following the Lahore terror attacks that killed over 70 people on Easter Sunday. Ahead of the summit, India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval met US Secretary of State John Kerry, and Kerry said that India has an important role to play in responsible stewardship of nuclear weapons and materials.
India has a very important role to play with respect to responsible stewardship of nuclear weapons and nuclear materials. India has a long record of being a leader, of being responsible.
We do hope that this cooperation will find a new strength, a new heights, will get further strengthened and deepened. And we share many concerns, particularly our concerns about terrorism, about concerns about the cyberspace and others, and we've been working together on that.
India has always asserted the need for ensuring nuclear security and the peaceful use of nuclear energy. It has supported IAEA's role in promoting safe, secure and peaceful use of nuclear technologies. The summit will be an opportunity for India to share its views and track record on nuclear security. With Dharmendra Tiwari in Washington, Newsnight Desk, DD News.
And our correspondent Dharmendra Tiwari joins us from Washington. Dharmendra, what are the expectations that India has from this nuclear security summit? And also briefly tell us what transpired in the bilateral that PM had with his New Zealand counterpart.
Yeah, Munmun, this is very important, the nuclear security summit, and India has a very good, clean track record of nuclear safety in its nuclear installations. So good practices followed by India, which is well appreciated by IAEA, is likely to be reflected in the final global nuclear security policy, which is going to be worked out. But that will happen tomorrow, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be attending Nuclear Security Summit tomorrow, that is Friday, 1st of April. As of today, right now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had just concluded his meeting with New Zealand Prime Minister John Key. Both the leaders, according to sources, discussed the issues of bilateral and mutual importance. And just 15 minutes from now, a very important meeting is happening wherein Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be meeting the LIGO scientist. LIGO was the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory. If you recall, just 2 months back, an observatory based in Washington had detected the gravitational wave, which proved the theory of Einstein.
Absolutely.
So, this is very important and significant because immediately after that discovery, the Indian government led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi had approved some 5,000 crore rupees to set up world's third and India's first LIGO observatory in India. The place has not yet been finalized where it will be set up, but in Gujarat, Gandhinagar-based Plasma Research Institute will be setting up this observatory. The significance of this meeting is it shows that how sensitive the government of India is for any technological and scientific progress which is happening around the world, and how promptly they are taking decisions to this effect. Such a meeting, which is going to take place today, will definitely boost the morale of the scientific community.
Absolutely. And the Prime Minister also, I remember, congratulated Indian scientists for their role in that discovery of gravitational waves. But also, Prime Minister is slated to meet US President Barack Obama later in the day there in Washington. What are the possible takeaways from that meeting that India expects?
Yeah, Munmun, that is going to be a very, very important meeting and the biggest high point of the day. And I believe India's expectation to get an entry into the 48-member nuclear supplier group that deals with the nuclear commerce across the globe, that is going to be an important agenda. Further, the cooperation, the civil nuclear cooperation with the US, that was finalized in 2007. It was signed in 2008, but it has not seen the light of the day. So whatever the blockades are in this matter, the biggest blockade is the nuclear liability and damage bill, over which the US expectations are there that India should not make such a stringent, make provisions for easing of rules. So I think that is going to be the second most important agenda, besides the other defense and scientific technology and climate change and other trade-related matters. Munmun.
All right, so that's about the bilateral that will be taking place in some hours from now between PM Modi and US President Barack Obama. Thank you so much, Dharmendra, for giving us that update from Washington.